want a piece of me?
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Good morning, Vietnam! I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
You do? You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
I answered.
What up, film fans? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to episode 314. Welcome to Beetlejuice, and welcome to a new episode of the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Juan, and I am joined by the cast crew, the fellas. Jay, what's up?
How's it going?
Ed, what are you doing?
Oh, just being here, being here on the Cine-Men Movie Podcast, like always.
I feel you, man. Happy Tuesday. Welcome, everybody. You're listening to a new episode of the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Guys, before we get into, the day and the episode, the opening, man, kind of hit us in the feels, man. R.I.P. James Earl Jones. I know a big influence on a lot of moviegoers, a lot of sci-fi fans, a lot of Star Wars fans.
Some big fans.
His character is probably one of the main reasons I'm here talking with you good fellas.
Dude, what else can you say about James Earl Jones? The man had a legendary voice, big presence in most of his films, like nobody could have. And I mean, he was an all-around class act. I mean, yeah.
One of my favorite James Earl Jones performances is when he showed up on The Big Bang Theory. You ever seen that episode?
With Carrie Fisher. That apparently that was the first time they ever met face to face. Legitly.
That's a lot. That's a long time for not meeting.
Because he was just in the sound booth, so he never got to meet most of them face to face during that time. So
that's
he spent a couple days. He'd spend a couple days in the sound booth per movie, and then off he'd go.
Yep. It's insane on that. Such a big project that went on and is still currently like huge in media.
Well, I know. I know before he passed away, he did a lot of recording for Lucasfilm, and he gave him permission to, after he passed away, to continue using his voice. So he will live on.
Loved his craft, like he told Sheldon. I love Star Wars too. A lot of good stuff, a lot of feels.
A lot of feels, man. It seems like all of our childhood favorites are slowly going away, but
over time,
like you see, yeah, exactly, over time, man.
But time is undefeated. We
will be sure to be getting into some more James Earl Jones conversations later throughout the year, and even maybe later today. But guys, last week, Ed, you had a little technical difficulties going through. Me and Jay, man, we had a fun conversation about Clerks 2. If you guys want to check out Clerks 2, go back last week's episode and give it a look-see. Go check it out. Go download it. All the links are below, and you can click those links, and it'll take you to our social media pages, and it'll take you to our past episodes. Ed, let them know, what are the social media pages, and how do they get to them?
Oh, so it's too easy to get to those. That is Facebook.com/The Cine-Men Movie Podcast. The Cine-Men Movie Podcast is TheCinemen Movie Podcast. Instagram is same, The Cine-Men Movie Podcast. X is at Cine-Men405. That is Cinemen 405. The email, of course, as most of you know, is cinemen921@gmail.com. That is Cinemen921@gmail.com.
And let's dig into one of our first segments. We'll talk about some recent watches or recommendations. Ed, you didn't get to join us last week for this. Is there anything that you want to recommend, or what's on the recent watch list?
Recent watches, I have watched one just last night, actually, that was interesting and kind of drawn some inspiration from an old great film, The Deliverance. honestly, I thought about a not knockoff or anything like that, but a lot of inspiration came from The Exorcist. There is that part.
You talking about the
So
new Netflix movie?
yes, just watched that last night. I do recommend. I think it was a good watch. Glenn Close is really, really good in it. So yeah, a lot of good stuff about that film.
It was
So,
real good, man. I checked it out too. That's one of my recent watches. I watched it on
nice.
Thursday night, and it's honestly like I didn't know this, but it's based off of true events,
Uh-huh.
and highly recommend it. It's actually going to be an episode of Friday the 14th podcast in 3 weeks, the final episode of September. So it should be a fun
Ooh.
conversation. Yeah, I recommend it too. You have anything else you checked out?
Not at the moment. Not at
Jay,
the moment.
what about you, Jay?
I watched Beetlejuice 3 times to be prepared for the episode. I've rewatched Deadpool versus Wolverine, or Deadpool and Wolverine. Jeez. And then I've been watching this YouTube channel called the Y Files. It's about conspiracy theories, ancient history, technology, CIA, you name it, they talk about it. And they try to debunk everything and, just see if everything is legit or can be debunked. It's been pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
And they have a little mascot on this show. It's called Hecklefish. And it's just a little goldfish that talks shit through the entire fucking show. So I think it's pretty. That's what I've been doing. So,
man, after Clerks 2, I kind of went like on just a binge. I started trying to watch a bunch of new stuff as possible. I checked out Love You, Adam Sandler's new stand-up special on Netflix. I thought it was hilarious. The ending made me cry. So,
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Go check it out. It's on Netflix. It just came out a few weeks ago. Monkey Man, The Bike Riders, which I thought The Bike Riders was phenomenal. The Garfield movie, I thought it was okay. Beetlejuice, and then Beetlejuice, and then a shit ton of football. Literally from 9 a.m. Saturday until 11 p.m. Sunday. That's all that was on the TV. So if you want to hear some thoughts and opinions, go check out the latest edition of Sports Breakers. Me and Craig predicted week 3 of college football this week and week 2 of the NFL yesterday. So go check that out wherever you listen to podcasts.
What did you think of Monkey Man?
You know what? I thought Monkey Man was honestly brutal. I thought it was fantastic. It had a pretty good story behind it. The people who compare it to John Wick don't believe those people because it's nothing like John Wick. But I would recommend it. I bought it, but it's also available on Peacock.
Okay, heck yeah.
So yeah, go check it
I
out.
can't remember if we talked about this or not, Juan, but me and you seen the new Crow movie a couple weeks ago or whatever, and that was just shit.
Man,
Right?
you know what? We didn't get to talk about it in long form, but yeah, it was kind of insane. Man, it was just so all over the place. I thought the last 25 minutes was probably the best of the entire movie, but even then, it was just it was bad. I'm not gonna lie, it was bad.
Like I told you, I was like, Eric's nothing but a pussy in this one. That's
Yeah.
all he is. All he does is whine and cry about shit. He doesn't do nothing.
Yeah. And it was
So-
kind of brought up in controversial fashion, but I was like, is that today's updated version of Eric?
Supposedly.
You know? And then the way, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, I think we're going to review it later on in the year just to probably talk about a shitty film. And we talked about the original one. But man, when I found out, Jay, that the 15th anniversary of Coraline made more money that opening weekend, I was shocked.
But as of right now, it's getting ready to hit. It hits digital rentals on the 14th of September, and it made only $10 million completely. That was it.
Yeah, and it had a $50 million budget. That's insane.
And then the director decided to call everybody, fans out because we didn't go see his movie.
Well, you know, it also wasn't. There wasn't a lot of publicity for it, and
Yeah,
it was just bad. Like I said, I think we're gonna have a conversation about it one day because I think it would be fun to dedicate a few weeks to just some really bad films. And you know what? Who knows? Like I said, I asked some people to send us out some emails. Maybe we'll get some emails about it, but um, it was pretty bad. I went opening night, 8 p.m. IMAX. There was probably 4 people in that crowd.
You sent me a picture, and you're like, I'm like, wow, dude, there's
Yeah.
like nobody fucking there.
Yeah, 8 p.m. IMAX showing opening night for me. Ed, you used to work at that building, and this is how slow it was. You know the IMAX lobby? On an opening night, there was no popcorn being popped in those machines.
Not even one.
Not even one. If they told us that if we wanted popcorn, we had to go up front for it. That's how slow it was.
Wow.
Yep.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, especially when they supposedly make most of their money with that. So,
but let's dig into what we're talking about today. It's the meat and potatoes of today's episode. We're talking Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. After a family tragedy, 3 generations of Dietz family return home to Winter River, still haunted by Beetlejuice. Lydia's life is turned upside down when her teenage daughter Astrid accidentally opens the portal to the afterlife. Starring Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, Catherine O'Hara, Jenna Ortega, Justin Therodox, William Dafoe, Arthur Canty, Monica Bellucci, directed by Tim Burton. IMDb has us at a 7.1, Rotten Tomatoes at 76%. The Metascore is at 62. Letterboxd has it at 3.4 with a budget of $100 million. So far, it's grossed a little over $150 million at the box office with a release date of September 6th, 2024. Ed, we'll start with you, man. What was it like? If you could describe it in just a few short words after you saw it, and how many times you go see it?
just once. A lot going on, not in a bad way. Just a lot going on.
I can respect that. Jay, what about you? You said you saw it 3 times after the first time.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like after?
I just had to digest it. It just it felt overloaded. Like I've seen some reviews say there's 3 movies crammed in this script, and I agree with them. You know, there's like the Monica Bellucci character completely could have been taken out of the movie. Didn't need her at one bit. And I was trying to find that, because when I seen Beetlejuice when I was a kid at the drive-in, the original Beetlejuice at the drive-in, I felt this whimsical, just this awesome, tale. But this one I don't know, just Beetlejuice and everything was cool, and I just couldn't find that feeling that I felt from the original.
See, and I fully agree, because she played Dolores, and dude, I feel like the ending was on her. I feel it was like a scrap ending. It was just like, brush it off. That's cool. That'll work kind of thing. And I agree. It was kind of a why? Because they painted that picture for that character up so big that it shit itself.
There was no payoff.
My original thought when it was over would probably be cheesy.
Well,
And that's pretty fair.
So let's talk about it. I mean, And honestly, guys, I want you to chime in. This feels like, you remember when they were just pushing out some sequels and some reboots back in 2020 just to push it out because of the pandemic? That's what this felt like. This felt like a movie that was made for like Hulu or Amazon Prime. I felt like I wasn't watching a big time sequel some 30 years later.
I mean, I will agree on some. I will argue on some. That
First off, Lydia did not feel like Lydia. She
not
is
100%.
The way she was portrayed in the original was like, in this movie it's like that's not
She was
Lydia.
a quiet, mild-mannered little girl in the original.
Yeah.
But
And this,
I kind of see her progression to this, where she's accepted her role that she can see and talk to ghosts, and I don't know where along the way in her life to where she became a TV host, but I never expected that.
I do like the aspects of her using her abilities to see dead people, because it is like one of those, hey, they're taking advantage of it. I would too if I saw dead people. Um,
I mean, it fit her character because she was macabre, downtrodden, and like in the first film, it worked. It went well. Like she didn't. I mean, even just seeing the couple in the first, she didn't freak out and run away and all that stuff. They noted a time or two in that. This felt more just like she was kind of stupid. Didn't really see much around her other than the show. But then didn't fully want to be all about it. It was kind of all over with her a little bit. I thought Winona Ryder's good, but
I agree with Jay then, because you kind of just put it in that sentence right there. This movie was just kabuki. There was like 3 or 4 scripts, it felt like, in one movie, and it's like it did not know where it was going to go. I feel like there's a few characters that's like, man, you could have saved that for maybe like a fucking trilogy or something. Yeah. Did you? I mean,
I've already came up with after seeing it so many times, I've already came up with a better movie in my head in a way, for because I would honestly had sat there and had Lydia and Beetlejuice on an adventure together to try to save her daughter. That be the movie, and it's their experience going through the afterlife, different aspects of it. We kind of got that, but it was so truncated that there wasn't, a full-fledged out story. It was like over like that. Daughter goes to afterlife. 10 minutes later, she's saved. It's like, okay,
yeah,
for real. And I mean, on top of that,
there's some side characters that were just like, I feel like not needed at all. I completely did not feel anything for Rory in this movie.
I didn't either, but I think they needed a guy to sit there and kind of be conniving in a way. Like I said, I have a better move in my head where they just spend the entire time, Beetlejuice and Lydia, trying to get her daughter back in the afterlife. That would have been part 2 for me. But we talk about the Michael Keaton, though. Michael Keaton was fucking spot on. It's like he hadn't missed a beat.
Yeah.
My opinion.
I feel like he's probably the only thing that was like super positive about the movie for me.
I mean,
same here.
Ortega was decent, but it's kind of getting her usual anymore.
She's typecasted already.
Yeah. Winona Ryder was okay, but I just don't think they knew where the story was wanting to go with her. I do agree. Like, Beetlejuice could have done something to Lydia, and that could have been Astrid, for that matter, Jenna Ortega's character. And she wanted to meet her dad, so that's why he slipped the book in somehow, and that's how she got into the afterlife, and whatever from there. The Dolores, the badass Ava Green reminiscence female villain was cool for most of the movie, and then just shit on it at the very end. It was kind of just like I said, a brush away.
Well, I feel
Jeremy
that
was decent.
I feel when they got to near the end of the movie, it just became a rehash of the original.
Yeah.
Another wedding, and then the bad guys finished off with a sandworm.
Jay, we talked about musical numbers in Clerks 2, but I don't think the musical numbers in Beetlejuice Before the Wedding was needed.
There was only the one where he sat there and sang to her in the graveside, and then the finale.
Yeah, I'm talking about the finale where he dances with her.
I thought that was okay. It was different. It brought you back a little bit to the Deo scene in the original. But
yeah,
this to me also did not feel, other than the few scenes that Michael Keaton was in it, and then maybe the Danny DeVito scene, which I thought was amazing. I don't think to me, this did not feel like a Tim Burton movie.
I was going to say that as well. And for $100 million, it could have looked better.
Yeah.
I will say the one scene I truly thought was not needed was the killing of Bob.
Exactly. I felt for that guy. I really did.
No, seriously. Like, what the fuck was it for? Like, it was another
It's everybody was, but I think that scene in particular was to make you feel like, man, Beetlejuice really is a demon and he's a piece of crap. That's the only reason that's the only reason I think is in there, because remember, at the end of the day, Beetlejuice is still the bad guy, and you're rooting for Lydia to get away from him. But somehow in the movie, I found myself rooting for Beetlejuice and Lydia to end up getting together. But
no, same to a point, the same, because they kind of really built it up to be that way, especially with Rory
having her sign the paper,
the contract, and all that.
And that was another thing that was resolved very quickly. Astrid, during a very pivotal moment in the movie where everything's chaotic, she's finding a way to bring a sandworm in and this and that, but she also finds the flaw in the contract too. Yeah, all in the same go.
When she was riding her bike before she hit the treehouse, did you guys think she was going to die?
I do like how they I do like how they introduced her being able to see ghosts. I really thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Like the Jeremy character, 100%. Like, Astrid's story was the only one to me that felt thought authentic. Out.
Yeah, it felt the only thing too.
Willem Dafoe,
he had fun. I will say that he had fun,
but it was a little too much sometimes. Just at a few points. Like, not too much so, but it was a little bit like, okay, that catchphrase needs to stop. Just
the thing that was weird was he was so fast to try to protect Beetlejuice, but the moment Beetlejuice did something wrong, he was like, all right, let's go get him.
Well, he committed he broke the what was it, 699 or something like that, code 699. So yeah, that's a big code break in the afterlife. Here's one of the things that didn't make it seemed to be all over the place was the powers that certain characters had that didn't make sense. Like, they were just like, well, hell, this sounds cool, let's do this, whatever. Whereas in the first movie, you had it felt like you had a certain specific set of special things that Beetlejuice could do. Like throwing the trap on Gina Davis's mouth, sewing her mouth shut, showing gut. But then, he's like doing other shit. It's like, and other characters are doing other shit. I was just like, okay, that don't make sense. Like, the power level felt off.
We haven't really talked much about it, but the whole reason everybody kind of comes together was because Jeffrey Jones's character, the dad, dies. And you get reintroduced back to Delia Dietz, and Catherine O'Hara comes into play, which I gotta say, I'm a huge Catherine O'Hara fan. All the stuff she's done back in the day, including stuff recently. So I'm glad she came back for this movie. But what do you guys think of her character, at least in this go
It was
around?
Delia. It
Yeah.
was Delia all over. It was she's the one that felt like she came back and was her character besides Michael Keaton.
Yep.
You know, she slid right back in more. And it was funny how she went out.
Yeah.
Again, how Astrid called it was like, you sure?
Because she knows her grandma. You know, she was like, I feel like you just bought these to waste money. And sure enough, she supposedly paid for them to get defanged and everything, and didn't work out the way she wanted to. Because of Jeffrey Jones going out the way he did and all the charges that were brought up on him back in the day, are you guys surprised that they used his 100% likeness as at least an animated way? Like, I feel like, you know, it made me wonder, like, did they have to pay this man to get his likeness, or did he sign something
Yes.
way back in the day?
They probably had to because of the Crispin Glover thing for Back to the Future 2. Because Robert Zemeckis and them used Crispin Glover's likeness in Back to the Future 2, and he didn't sign on, so they had to pay him. They had to back pay him because they fucked up.
Even with some of the like
Allegations,
yeah.
Yep. They still have to pay you for your likeness rights.
So I was like, I guess I can see it. Like, hey, well, we'd rather pay you for your likeness than actually have you in the movie.
Yeah.
But I thought the way his character died with the shark attack and the plane crash, and then seeing him headless throughout the movie, I thought that was pretty funny.
That was good.
He was still in the movie though.
Yeah.
I mean, in all technicality.
I like the part whenever Delia and him meet up in the afterlife, and he's like missing a fucking head, and she's got two little like small line dots on her fucking neck, and it's like, and she's like, "Look what they did to me," and I'm like,
you don't see the 8 teeth that's literally stuck in this bastard's head, plus his esophagus going here and there, like for real. Okay.
I thought the guy who played Jeremy was pretty cool. I liked his character in this movie. I liked the whole Jeremy thing. I liked finding out the backstory. I thought that was pretty cool too. What did you guys think of that backstory? And that's when Janet Ortega found out she could see dead people.
So my wife called it. She was just like, whenever they were up in his room the first time after she was off the bed and they didn't show the mom or dad's faces, she was like, they're all dead. She's like, I guarantee you. She is like, they're all dead. It fits with him or with Beetlejuice's movies. They're all dead.
Dang, we should have her on the podcast.
Sometimes she makes really good calls. I mean, honestly, she really does.
I was cool that they actually went that far and he murdered his parents and he was bad, you know.
I mean, yeah, that he was that bad of kind of a prick, literally. But yeah.
What'd you guys think of the dad? Like Jenna Ortega's dad in the movie, and
I thought his movie makeup was stupid.
Yeah, the piranhas.
Yeah, I thought it was horrible.
It was kind of what was the brothers that worked on oh shit, you're gonna hate me for this. Killer Clowns and
the
Pee-wee's Adventures and shit like that.
The Cheeto brothers?
Yes. It reminded me of those. I disagree. I feel like the makeup from the 80s Killer Clowns movie was way better than that. To me, I couldn't, and I'm sure that's how they wrote it out to be, but I could not take that character serious with those piranhas just
they look like fake little floppy fish, right? Everybody else that's dead had a unique look, and their deaths it looks like they put more work in some of the background characters, the way they look, how they died and everything, than they did the dad.
So I wanted to bring this up to you guys because we love the original. It's one of the greatest movies of all time, at least in my opinion. It's on HBO Max if you want to go check it out. The Anniversary 4K came out a few years ago. Is it me, or does Beetlejuice's makeup look better 30 years ago than it did in this movie?
Yeah, but I want to put it up as like decaying, you know?
He looked decaying in the original, but in this one, it felt like you could tell it was. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too picky. Jay, what did you think of the way Beetlejuice looked?
It looked more fluorescent, didn't it? In my opinion, it looked more neon and shit like that. Whereas in the original, it was just like a dark green. But I don't know.
And before we went off last week, Jay, you said that for the longest time they wanted Beetlejuice in Las Vegas,
Hawaii.
Hawaii. I thought it was Vegas because it was funny. At the end of the movie, he was like, "We should have got married in Vegas."
Now, if he would have said Hawaii, that would have been fucking hilarious.
Yeah, see, that's
My opinion.
that's what I was waiting on. But I was like, "Wait a minute, did I get it confused? Is it Hawaii or is it Vegas?"
No, like seriously, for years they kept wanting to do Beetlejuice in Hawaii. The movie executive did, and Tim Burton and all them were like, "What the fuck, really?
He should have
Beetlejuice
said
in Hawaii?"
He should have said Hawaii. Then that would have made so much sense.
That would have been funny.
It like you said earlier, it didn't feel like a Tim Burton movie. It had its moments speckled in here and there, but it didn't feel like one.
Beetlejuice to me though was probably top notch as far as like the way he could have been, and I almost bet like some of his jokes were probably tuned down just a little bit, even though he did get an F word in the movie, right?
Yeah.
Two. Can
Well,
you
they censored one of them.
Oh yeah, that's right. I do want to say I liked the backstory of him talking about the backstory in Spanish, and it was in black and white.
That was good. That was funny.
Yeah,
that was funny.
Because I don't even know if you saw this in the animated series, but did we ever get a Beetlejuice like semi backstory?
You do in the original, and it's just sprinkled out through the dialogue. Whenever he's like, I lived through the plague. Whenever he's sitting there telling him, I've seen that the Exorcist 30, during that scene, but he sits there and tells them the Maitlands that he lived through the plague.
I remember that scene, and I'm glad they touched on the plague in this movie. But I didn't know if you ever got any kind of flashback in the animated series about him without makeup.
See, the animated series, I did watch the animated series because I grew up in that era, and it was Beetlejuice and Lydia having adventures in the afterlife.
But
every episode was her. They had friends in the afterlife they would go hang out with.
Was that because she was dead, or would she go back and forth?
She would go back and forth. Like Beetlejuice would come over to her house and hang out. They were like best buds in the cartoon.
I will have to say, even though I'm kind of on the fence about maybe how I felt on my one and only watch, I tried like hardest to go see it again in the theater, but life just happened and I got way too busy. I think I am going to see it one more time in the movie theater. By all means, if you guys, I know we've been going on for 35 minutes, but if you guys have not seen this, go check it out, man. It's still Beetlejuice. It's Tim Burton. It's Michael Keaton. It's a hell of a good time in a movie theater. And I honestly can't wait to rewatch it, whether it's in a theater or at home. But
and like we always say here, don't always base your opinions on any and everybody else's thoughts. Base your opinions on what you think and what you like. Simply just because what we say, think, and like, we may not even agree with each other for that matter. So if we can't even agree with each other, why should you trust every single little thing?
I like it's not like you're going into the end of a Jerry Springer episode there.
Wow. Jerry's final thoughts up in here.
Take care of yourself and each other.
Good night.
The score. Let's talk about the score for a little bit.
It didn't even sound like a Danny Elfman score to me.
No?
No. I at the beginning it sounded, because they played the familiar Beetlejuice theme, and then occasionally when he was on there, but it's more like they depended on soundtrack, like already made music, with dance scene and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. Like whenever the bride was introduced, Dolores, they went with the Bee Gees song. In the original, they would have sat there and had some fucking Danny Elfman, just weird, whimsical song going on that while she's putting herself together, in my opinion.
Yeah. But I wonder if it's cheaper, but I think it'd be cheaper to make your own.
You have to pay song rights.
Yeah.
And I mean, especially when you're already paying the dude.
Would you think of just Astrid in general, like her school, them going up and picking her up, and she was just like, I don't think we needed more time to explain the relationship between the two because I think they covered it enough. Um, but just Jenna Ortega in general and her character, what did you guys think about her?
She was fine for what she was. She wasn't. You expected her. She has the look of a goth girl in a way, but no personality of a goth girl. You know what I mean? It's we get that she's Lydia's daughter, but she's more like her father than her mother, and that's what I think she's trying to. She's trying to fight becoming her mother, and little does she know, she's become her mother.
And see that's the thing, man. Like her story, to me, I think her story was the best thought out. She was, other than Keaton himself, she was the best secondary character. It felt more like she was portraying someone she'd actually portray.
I like the scene whenever they show up at her school and fucking Catherine O'Hara is fucking hollering, Astrid, your mommy lost her daddy, and you lost your grandpa, and I lost my horny handyman.
Bro, I would have shut that door and like, hey, someone's weird ass grandma is out here. I would have cut that.
Well, everybody at the school would have knew who they were talking to you because she was screaming Astrid. Right. Everybody knows who in the hell Astrid is at that school, I bet, because that's Lydia's weird ass daughter.
Bro, that killed me. I was just like, that's bullshit.
That was a pretty funny scene.
I like when Catherine O'Hara, whenever she realizes it, she wakes up in the waiting room, she's like, no. And then she does it again after being told there's nothing they can fucking do about it. There's no mistake. You're dead. You're here. And she sits there, like, no. And then she's like, Beetlejuice? And he just pops up behind her. He's like, oh, now I'm dead. You're dead. You want to hang out? So I thought she was actually really good in the movie.
Do you guys think a Gina Davis and or Alec Baldwin scene might have been needed, or do you think it's good that they just left him alone?
That was already decided. That was from what I've read, that they decided early on they were not going to have them in the movie, so they pretty much said they found a loophole, they're gone. So they pretty much wrote that. That was one of the first things they threw out there.
Which, was kind of cool.
That they at least explained and acknowledged them.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, but they are kind of in the movie as miniature figures.
I didn't see that.
Mm-hmm. They're
in the mock-up town.
Yeah, whenever the camera, I think it's at the beginning, is when the camera's panning up and you can see the cows and everything. Right before you see that, they're standing next to each other in like a ditch, looking up at the house.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't.
And then you could see the bridge, and there's a hole in the side of it with the car in the water. I don't know if you guys noticed that either.
The car in the bridge, yes. Huh. Okay. Hell yeah.
Like I said, I've seen it 3 times, and I've watched it on a laptop. There is a really great copy. I'm serious. It looks like a Blu-ray. That's how good this copy is, and I've watched it on a laptop real close to my face, so I've seen all kinds of shit that I probably wouldn't have seen otherwise because it was so close to my face.
Nice.
But one thing, I sit there, because as we get older, our face thins out and everything a little bit. I was sitting there looking at Michael Keaton's face. I was like, his face looks the same from back in the day. It still has that chubbiness to it that Michael Keaton's face has. It didn't look all thin and gaunt. He still had that look, even though he's 73 years old now.
Man, that's insane. He's 73. We haven't really talked that much about Michael Keaton. What do you guys think, man? He had that stint of like a throat cancer scare, if I'm wrong, right?
I don't recall that. I thought that was Michael Douglas.
I don't know, but Michael Keaton had like he he had a stint where he was like kind of gone from Hollywood for a minute,
He
right?
was doing a lot of direct-to-TV movies and directed DVD movies and stuff for a little bit.
And then lately, like I'm gonna say the last 10 years, he's had kind of like a resurgence. The last 10 years.
Oh yes, I'm glad he got to go back to two of his roles that made him who he, made him a household name.
Yeah.
I'd like him to make a Beetlejuice 3. I'm not. I'd watch a third one. Let's not wait 30 more years for a third one.
Oh yeah, me too. I would definitely check it out soon. I know they're happy with how much money it's made opening weekend and a lot of pre-sales. I wanted to bring this up because we talked about The Crow not making any money because it was shit, and two, because there was no production for it. This movie had a crap ton of advertisements. There's Beetlejuice everywhere. Facebook ads.
From what I've seen, it's taken that Nightmare Before Christmas route where everything's a fucking product now. Like seriously, yeah. I've seen all over the place like Beetlejuice dresses because it's black and white stripes and women are wearing. I'm like, okay, that's where we're at. Hoodies, popcorn buckets.
Tons of stuff out, not even just product that you can buy. And yeah, it came out in September close to Halloween, but like there's so many ads. Facebook, Beetlejuice is doing stuff with like fast food joints, and we're not talking like a CGI Beetlejuice. Michael Keaton got back up in his getup and is doing these ads for the movie. So like
they got Fanta.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like this for a movie in recent years. Even the Marvel movies and the Star Wars movies, I haven't seen anything like this in a while. I'm still kind of shocked that the movie only made 150 million. I was hoping for maybe like a 200 million opening, but still 150 opening weekend. That's still pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Well, I didn't think it cost 100 million to make. I don't know where that went in the budget, but that's astronomical for a comedy.
It's a huge budget.
Jenna Ortega probably was
25 million.
15 million of it. So let's talk about maybe if there's a third one. If there was a third one, where would you guys kind of want to see it? It kind of ended with Beetlejuice going back, but I mean, he's a demon. He can always come back. Where would you guys want to see a third one?
Okay, before we go, whenever she said Beetlejuice once at the end of it, after he started blowing up, I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Mm-hmm.
What? Never before has anybody said his name and he blew up like this. Like, what the fuck is going on? I was confused by that part. I really didn't know what the hell was going on then.
That's true. Maybe he did that his own.
And the ending of it, the ending, I was just left like, that's how they're going to end this movie? I was the baby. Yeah, that whole dream thing where Astrid has a baby Beetlejuice and shit like that. And
you think they're again, that's like 2 or 3 freaking movie endings in one.
Because then Lydia wakes up and she's tripping out, and he's like, then Beetlejuice wakes up next to her. And he's like, "Oh man, I had a bad dream," and she wakes up again, and you're like, "What?"
So, what do you guys think? You think there's some secret conversations in those endings?
Beetlejuice appears in the next movie at first in the sandworm desert. He has to find his way out before it kills him. And
what was up with? Yeah, I got a question like Jay. What was up with Jenna Ortega having a Beetlejuice baby?
I guess the worst thing that can happen to her in Lydia's mind.
But if you sit there and look at her after she has the baby, she has this look on her face that she's not troubled by this. That it was okay. It was cool. Seriously, she doesn't. Whenever you rewatch that scene, she doesn't have a worried or just weirded out look. She's content with that happening. Weirdly. And you can even buy the Beetlejuice baby now.
Oh, speaking of the baby, I thought that was pretty cool, but also pretty creepy. It kind of gave me some Freddy Krueger vibes. What do you guys think?
100% agree. Dreams, babies, stripes, killing.
Nothing like that, honestly. Just the baby in general, the way it was portrayed. It reminded me of the little
Uh-huh.
baby from Nightmare 5. Like the animatronics and the way it looks.
There was a creepy little.
But yeah, for a third one, I don't know. I again don't want to wait forever. I wonder if theirs talks about a third one.
Well, they have to be after making having one
And
of the biggest. They had one of the best openings of the year.
Yeah.
On top of that, Beetlejuice, you know, having that 3 title name and all that, him coming to like the real world or something like that, coming alive again or something. I don't know.
You think that's what it'll be the exact title if they come out with a third one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
has to
honestly, it has to be because they've done Beetlejuice. So, yeah,
I was a fan of just calling it Beetlejuice 2. I don't know.
same. I mean, honestly,
Or Beetlejuice
no,
times 2.
the second.
You guys want to talk about maybe some favorite scenes?
Good.
Ed, we'll start with you.
Oh, I thought that the them going down to, I don't know, Dead World or whatever the hell, the afterlife, whatever you want to call it. Thought that was pretty cool. You know, you got to see a bit more of the lines and what, you know, they're going to do and stuff like that, what you have to do going through, you know, being dead and shit. Additionally, I also thought the scene with her and the boy once she realizes he's dead, Jeremy, with Astrid and Jeremy, I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Jay, what about you? Favorite scene?
Like I said earlier in the episode, that I liked Catherine O'Hara screaming for Astrid. I thought that was funny. I did like how like I said, I've seen it 3 times, so I've kind of the movie, at least until we get to the Monica Bellucci character's introduction, the way things go, that it has a even flow, like how it transitions from one scene to the next, like how the graffiti artist, he falls in that hole, and the next thing you know, he's waking up and, you know, down there, and you're following him now. And so that was a great transition scene to take you down there. It had a few of those sprinkled out throughout the movie, where it would start up there and it would pan down and like let you know that you're going down in the underworld or whatever the hell it is. You know, I like those transitions that it did, but I didn't mind the long song at the end. I thought that was actually pretty cool. So I enjoyed the ending a little bit. It took a couple watches to kind of like, okay, this is pretty cool, not bad. But I will say this: a lot of stuff I wasn't able to digest until the second, third viewing. It didn't feel appropriate until then. It just felt off.
That's probably the way to look at it. This is probably one of those movies that maybe gets better with a few more viewings. If I had to pick a favorite scene, it would probably be, first off, I think we all agree anything with Michael Keaton in it was gold. I am going to go with the Danny DeVito cameo. I thought that was pretty fun. I love the way he sounded and looked like the dying penguin from Batman Returns.
Mm-hmm.
I
enjoyed.
Yeah. I enjoyed.
I was sitting there thinking, I was like, that has to be a crack at the kids that ate Tide Pods.
Yeah. Especially since that's what he said, right? He's like, "Damn kids." I like the scene where Astrid has her bike wrecked and she falls into the treehouse. I want to say there's one more scene. I do like Beetlejuice's reactions with Bob and all the other Bobs, I guess. Yeah.
There was a lot of acting out of that character when it was hiding underneath that desk, scared out of his. I thought I was sad Bob went.
No, for real though, that was bullshit and unnecessary.
Hashtag
because
bring
it
back
didn't do
Bob.
anything. Like, didn't do anything for her character.
But he did do what he was supposed to. He was supposed to be the decoy for Beetlejuice.
I guess, yeah.
And I do like some of the rude crew jokes like he did get to have about Dolores. So, especially the soul sucking jokes, which was funny.
Yeah.
Um, this is it. One of the most anticipated movies of the year. Way back when we did our top 5 movies we're looking forward to. I don't know if you were with us, Jay, but I know this was on all of our lists, mine, yours, and Zach's. Ed. Star rating 1 out of 5. 1 being The Crow 2024, and five being
Deadpool and Wolverine.
yeah. So let's go with Ed. You go first.
I'll give it a 3.5. 3.5.
I think I'm gonna go with 3. I'm gonna give it a 3 for this. It could change. Maybe the viewings will be better, but right now, the way it stands, a 3. Jay, what about you?
I'll go 3 as well. I was wanting to say 2.5, but I'll go 3. Like I said, it was just there was just too much going on that didn't need to be there.
A little too much.
Yeah.
I needed to streamline it a little bit more because the original was very streamlined.
Yeah. It knew where it was going.
It had yeah, it was very streamlined.
Emails, mail time comes back next week. That's what we're going to do, and that's what we're going to have fun. We're going to read a bunch of emails next week for next week's anniversary episode. We are also going to review and have a conversation about Furiosa. Next Tuesday, September 17th, it is our 6th-year anniversary. Hundreds and thousands of downloads later, we are going to have fun, talk about a Mad Max movie, and read some emails. So next week's episode could be a little lengthy, maybe an hour and a half. Who knows? Could be a little girthy. But send us in those emails. Send us in some of your favorite episodes we've talked about, some of your favorite movies we've reviewed, some of the bad ones, and everything in between. So emails are coming in. I will get that email bag open next week. I'll respond to some more. And that's what we're going to do and have fun with next week on a new episode. Man, halfway done with September already. Next week, anniversary episode, Furiosa. And then we end September with Nicolas Cage and Longlegs. So what do you guys think of the last 2 episodes? You looking forward to them?
It's crazy.
Good.
3/4 of the way through the year.
Yeah. And then we open up October with Sleepy Hollow. That'll be Tuesday, October 1st.
Another Tim Burton movie.
Yeah. And then Tuesday, October 8th, we will talk and review Joker Part 2.
Just for the listeners out there, if you don't want to know what people's got to say about Joker, don't be online. They've already started reviewing the movie.
Yep. Movie reviews are coming in. Stay away from spoilers. Go check it out. Should be a fun conversation. I think it's 3.5 hours or 2.5 hours, though, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's 2:45. So, Jay, are you looking forward to the Joker, Ed?
I am. I mean, the first one was good. Had a few different jumps to, the side. So yeah.
Same
I'm
here.
just looking to see where they go with this one. I've read some of the reviews, so after reading some of them, I'm just like, shit. But and plus, it's a musical. A lot of people were really pissed off about that when they announced it. So I'll just wait to see.
What do you think about Lady Gaga? I heard last week on one of the late night shows said that it's not a musical, that she doesn't consider it to be a musical.
We'll have to just wait and see.
She should stay with pictures and photography.
Yeah. Hey, as long as Bradley Cooper doesn't come out and have a piano number with her, I think we'll be okay. But no, I'm excited for October, man. It kicks off with Sleepy Hollow. That's a movie that I've been wanting to talk about for a long, long, long time. We're finally going to do it this year. Tomorrow, if you guys want to hang out with me again, on this same Ema Sawa Productions YouTube channel, we will be reviewing From Dusk Till Dawn, 1996 Robert Rodriguez movie starring George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino. So that's what's on par for tomorrow. And then don't forget next week, Furiosa. Before we get out of here, guys, anything else you guys want to add to today's episode?
I'm
Don't
still
say it
recovering
three
from
times.
Rocklahoma.
Jay's
So-
recovering from Rocklahoma still. You need some electrolyte in you.
I've just been laying around doing shit.
He's been
I've
lit.
been sick. I got what they call the Rocklahoma fever or the flu.
Something's
It's basically, dude. I felt like shit this past week.
I feel like I went with you because I got sick the week you went to Rocklahoma, and I haven't seen you in a few months.
Oh yeah, it's dude. I've been congested, snot, fucking coughing.
Something's definitely going around.
It's Oklahoma.
Yeah. But man, I'm excited. I can't wait. Hopefully we have some special guests next week. I hope both of you guys are going to join me next week. Everybody out there.
We did discuss earlier that we might have a third movie for October, Abigail.
Yeah. Abigail is going to come up, and that's Jay's horror movie pick for October. So we will be doing Abigail the third week of October for October the 15th. Ed, you still have a horror movie to pick?
Yes.
And then I think I'll pick one as well. So this should be fun. And October is going to be filled with screams and moans. So,
First off,
as we get our sickness out of us, let's go get down with the sickness. Let's go get ready for next week's episode. Year 6 comes to a close. Our 60-year anniversary next week. Furiosa and emails on another new episode of the Cine-Men Movie Podcast.